Ohio Governor John Kasich joins us from the campaign trail in Rhode Island. Governor, the Club for Growth is running an ad in which they say that because you have so few delegates, that a vote for you is really a vote for Donald Trump. What's your response to that ad?
Well, first of all, they're working aggressively against me because they're for somebody else. Secondly, a vote for Cruz or Trump, frankly, is a vote for Hillary Clinton. I have some new numbers here that just came out of New Hampshire. And let me tell you, Hillary is at 50, Trump is at 31, Hillary's at 48, Cruz is at 34. And in the third matchup, Hillary's at 36 and John Kasich's at 50. And what's really amazing is they surveyed the voters in New Hampshire who actually voted in the Republican primary, which Trump won, where I finished second. And today, according to this poll, I lead Donald Trump 26-22. Look, I'm the only one who can defeat Hillary Clinton consistently in 15 national polls, and even the Electoral College shows the same thing. So, look, at the end of it all, I think when we're at the convention, the delegates are going to want to know who can beat Hillary, because if we don't beat Hillary, we lose the Supreme Court, the United States Senate, state and local races. That's where we're heading. And these guys don't have enough time to turn around super high negatives.
You're making the electability argument. In 1964, Pennsylvania governor made the same argument against Barry Goldwater. Governor Scranton said, I'm more electable. And the delegates just didn't listen. Why are they going to listen now?
Because if they look at history, Goldwater got smoked. We lost everything. I mean, that's why, because I think delegates are pretty smart when it comes to picking somebody who can actually win in the fall. And look, we're picking up delegates. My message is being heard. I'm emerging. We're getting big crowds here in Rhode Island, a huge turnout today. We just keep putting one foot in front of the other, and it'll work out. And you know, the message of growth, of opportunity, of bringing people together, this is what needs to be heard, not this message of gloom and doom. And you know, the Washington Post said the reason Kasich doesn't do so well is because he's not an apocalyptic candidate. Yeah, I don't think the apocalypse is coming next week. I think we can straighten this country out, and I'm going to keep talking about it.
You're competing in that delegate conversation with Donald Trump, and his campaign manager, Paul Manafort, said this week to some Republicans, quote, he gets it. The party he's been playing is evolving. The negatives are going to come down. The image is going to change. What's your reaction to that?
Well, I don't want to have anybody have negatives, but I can tell you, John, after my first year as governor, I was one of the most unpopular governors, maybe the most unpopular governor in the country. It takes a long time to change negatives. People have to see that you're actually being fruitful in your work. What happened with me is when people started getting work and we started balancing budgets and reaching out to people, it changed. But you can't turn negatives around overnight. It's not possible to do, because when you create that negative impression in people, you just can't talk your way out of it, unfortunately, for those that have high negatives.
Let me ask you about the convention coming up, the Republican convention. There are reports that you've been vetting running mates and that you might announce one as early as June. What can you tell us about that?
Well, we have some old hands now who are beginning to do that. You know, these things come quickly, and you don't want to have yourself in a position of where you got to pick somebody out of a hat. So I have some skilled hands who are beginning now to take a look and figure out who would really fit. And you know, it's just starting, so there isn't a lot to report.
I could imagine, though, John Kasich, in making his argument to the delegates, might say, hey, here's the ticket. Not just John Kasich, here's what the ticket would look like, and that might be a more attractive...
Yeah, I think that's interesting.
Might you do that?
It might be. It might be. Yeah, well, I mean, it's possible. I don't run the campaign. I'm just a candidate, okay? Well, I know what's going on. I had to approve that we were going to start vetting. These are things you talk about as a group. I'll have my strong opinions of it at some point. But we're at the preliminary stage, and yeah, I think it's always possible. You know, Reagan tried to do that in 1976. He didn't win.
Didn't work out so well for him.
Vice president.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know, did work out later, and you know, he influenced the country, and there's something to be said for that.
Let me ask you about the convention. Security measures. There's talk about if it might get rough. What are you doing in terms of security in case there's anything associated with the convention? Are you adding more security?
Well, John, I don't think I should be kind of getting into the security discussion, but we try to be prepared for all events as best as humanly possible. The Secret Service will be the lead entity on this. Our Highway Patrol is intimately involved. Of course, Cleveland Police. There'll be other entities of law enforcement from around the country that will help. And we prepare for what we think could happen, and we've been preparing for a number of things over the years since I've been governor. And we have good security people. I talk to them about it. At the end of the day, they'll be ready, but I don't think I need to talk about security on television.
All right. And finally, Governor, I wanted to ask you, Donald Trump had some difficulty with your name and pronouncing it. I want to play you a clip and get your reaction to that.
I'm millions of votes more than Kasich. And I don't know how you pronounce his name, Kasich. It's I-C-H. Every time I see it, I say Kasich, but it's pronounced Kasich. So I'm doing a very good job staying on. But, it's really, can we ask him to change the spelling of his name? Are we allowed to do that? It's so ridiculous.
Got any advice for Donald Trump there on the pronunciation of your name, Governor?
No, I always find these things amusing. When they're talking about you, John, that's a good thing. They used to say if they spell your name right, that's good. No, it's kind of chuckle. It makes me laugh. So God bless them, and God bless you and our listeners.
Thank you, Governor. We'll end it right there.
All right, thank you.